Good evening, Warriors, and welcome into another edition of the R&R Sports Report. My name is Randy Isbell. That's Robert Hagan. Happy Father's Day, happy Juneteenth, all the other stuff that's going on. Happy start of summer. And it sure's feeling like summer here in Lewiston, Idaho. Robert, you're feeling it a lot over there.
Don't even go there. As we lost our air conditioning motor again yesterday, so no air conditioning now, just over 24 hours, and it won't be until Monday before they can come out and work on it. So little rough. We got a few fans scattered, but it had to turn the fan off to do the show. But
yeah,
I did.
We don't need you to sound like you're in a hurricane while we do the show.
Hey,
people listening and watching appreciate it.
I did tell you before the show, I did have an offer to go and do the show from a friend of mine's pool, but they didn't want to have to see them floating through the water as I'm sitting there, So, yeah, it's going to be a warm one tomorrow, as I'm still teaching summer school, and we get to head out to Lapway and take a field trip tomorrow, and it'll be the hottest day of the year so far. So be interesting tomorrow. Yeah,
perfect timing. How was Father's Day for you?
Laid low. Did a little bowling with our buddy Billy and Mark Barrett, the LCO Bowler of the Year.
Don't get me started with that.
Trust me, we talked about it a little bit there. Billy and I did on Saturday before we bowled the entire team Sunday. But yeah, we need to revamp that. But yeah, bowled okay for singles, shot really, really well for doubles, and team shot average. So I guess I can't complain about a bad week. How about your Father's Day?
Just as laid low as you. More laid low, apparently, because you bowled and all this stuff. Just hung out around the house. We played the new Turtles game. It's very, very fun. It's difficult to play with 4 players when one of your players is off just jumping around and not fighting anything. But we had a lot of fun with it. They got me a little mini fridge over here. It's very, very mini. Holds like 6 pop cans, which is totally fine with what I need. So I'll be going through them throughout the show. And keeping myself cool because it gets very warm in this room as well. One of those things where fans hit the microphone too much, and you just kind of have to suffer through it for 2 hours, and we make it work. But no, it went well. I do have to say, there's 2 things that we need to bring to everyone's attention. One, we are just now exactly 10 followers away from hitting 600 on Facebook. We thank you guys so much for the added support. We had just a weird gush of people the last couple days.
It was
Robert started friending people.
Well, and I think part of it has to be you look at some of those names were soccer parent names from the 3-on-3 tournament that I did a couple weeks ago. So we're getting ourselves out there.
Turning into the show for the very first time, we appreciate you again. We are 10 away from 600. When we hit 600, we will put a poll up on our Facebook, and the winner or loser, I guess, of the poll, whoever gets the most votes, will have to do a training session with the Arnett martial arts group and suffer through it. The other one is there for moral support and camera duty, I think is the best way to do it. Also, we got to talk about doing something like Brad and Kyle does for the bowling league this fall. I think that would be a lot of fun, especially because the very first week is you versus me. So we got to figure out something to do based around our show and that league and have a little bit of fun with it. I think that would be a fun little content creation deal. But the one thing I need to bring up, and I am very sad that we had Tatco and Grub on in the chat throughout our entire show last week, and none of them realized my mistake the entire show. I kept talking about how the MLB draft was this week. It's in July. It was July 20 or July 19th, not June 19th when that draft starts. So we're about a month away. I was very confused when I was typing out the notes last week why they were doing the MLB draft during the College World Series. Well, because they're not. It's a month away. So, whoops. But still, nobody caught it. But no, we have no MLB draft results for you on the show as promised. That'll be in a month. And NBA draft though is coming. We will barely touch on that stuff. I believe that's on Thursday. But we will get into more of that as we go along on
But
today's
don't
show.
we
Yes.
do have a champion though, don't we?
Yeah, I
Maybe.
guess.
Okay.
There's a champion in there. We'll talk about it. We will talk about the NBA championship concluding. NHL Stanley Cup is in full bloom. They're through 3 games. One of them has been good. I tuned in yesterday, which is what I have been doing with the College World Series all week. Of hey, I'm going to tune in and I'm going to watch this. Oh, it's a blowout. All right, back to whatever the heck I'm doing. It's just kind of what the first game of the Stanley Cup was great. Went to overtime, great back and forth game. Since then, not so much. We will talk MLB. All-Star voting is in full force right now. They're getting through their first phase. I like the phases that they do now. We'll get more into that along with our power rankings. Our sports-related draft this week. If you want to be involved in any way, I think we just have come up with, unless we have a guest on the show, to just leave it up to whoever's live in the chat. So let us know if you're here, for one. But your job is to announce who will be the winner in our best MLB catch of all time draft. It was a very difficult draft to do. Not as goofy as our minor league one, but there's just as many nominees, if not more. There is one surprising omission, I will say, to our draft. We will get to that. Gronk calls it a career. We'll talk about that and some other NFL news, Aussie rules football, bowling, NASCAR, all that other fun stuff that we get to on this show. But first, an event or a sport that usually gets thrown into our doesn't get enough airtime deal is going to get a lot of airtime here. And not only is it because Joel Damon had a very, very good weekend, but overall, I thought the U.S. Open was fantastic. There were so many people involved all the way through Sunday. The course was very brutal on Saturday. Then it rained and it kind of opened up some scoring and it opened up a lot of possibilities on that Sunday, which is always one of the better Sundays in all of sports. I mean, the Masters gets more attention than the U.S. Open, but with just how difficult these Opens usually are, where it's just as surprising if somebody gets a birdie compared to a double bogey, and you just never know where things are going to go. I thought the Sunday was fantastic. How much of it did you get to watch?
Well, we did have it on while we were bowling, and so we did get to see the few clips of Joel, but try to watch the entire Saturday, Sunday as much as I could with everything going on. So the Ocho, we're all covering things. Yeah.
This is ESPN 12. I think they're up to that.
Yeah, it was a great tournament. And for us, I think for you and I and the Facebook page kind of blew up a little bit Thursday after I posted some pictures, Bantam Booster and also a ESPN. That George, look at what you did. George has got me
not
thinking
hard to
ESPN.
get you off track.
But CHS student Pete Williams, Espen Williams were back watching a Red Sox game on Wednesday. They're back east right now, and they're trying to figure out why things were so busy around their hotel rooms, and found out that that the Open was happening there, and decided to go ahead and get tickets, and actually got to see Joel and watch him tee off on the 10th on Thursday. Chatted with Joel and Gino, and so it was pretty cool to see, some cool pictures live from right there in we'll say Brookline, but the greater Boston area. But it was a great tournament overall. The scores, you expect the scores for a U.S. Open or a major to be competitive, and it was. You looked on Sunday, even Saturday, the top 10. At one point, I think everybody had a shot up at first place for at least one hole or two holes before the bogey train happened, and one of them would drop back down. Somebody'd move back up.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Like I said, Saturday was kind of the punching day. You had a lot of qualifiers, including Joel Damon, who were up near the top for the U.S. Open, and Saturday kind of punched them in the gut. Joel, especially, where he had 4 bogeys in his first 9 holes. Did a great job of calming things down. He had 10 straight pars to end his round, which I thought was fantastic for how much he was struggling early on, for him to settle down and kind of reset. But it was really interesting at that same time where you started to have a couple players run away there on Sunday. And just like that, everyone started to pull them back in just enough and then come down to where it was basically the 2 guys on the same group to decide it. It was great drama all the way around.
And listen, Scheffler, looked good on Saturday. He was leading at 600 at one point, and then had 4 bogeys and ended back in 2 under. So it's the brutality of what they do with those hole placements there on Saturday and Sunday that's going to make you or break you. I think the biggest stat that kept getting thrown out to me, we'll talk about some other stuff with Joel, but Joel was leading the field with greens hit in regulation.
Yeah, he was
He
hitting it straight, and he like he was saying in other interviews during the whole week, like, he's not the longest player by any means on the tour, but when you have a difficult course like they were playing on here, but it's not super long, it kind of works towards his accuracy, and that worked out really well. The only thing that really was a bugaboo was his putter. He wasn't missing things by a lot, but he was missing them by just enough, and those greens were very evil. I watched one putt by Roy McIlroy that was looked like it was going in and backed up at the end. Like, it got right up to the lip of the hole and just stopped and rolled back slightly. It was like everything was like tilted upwards right at the end of these cups, and you had to do it perfectly. And I think that's kind of what got Joel a little bit, was just not being able to bury enough putts. But man, there was a lot of great action in this tournament.
Yeah, unbelievable. And like you said, even the folks that finished top 10 was great. And to see how many of them were moving up and down the ladder, even on moving day on Friday, to catch the last few minutes of that after teaching summer school, to see those people up and down the list was phenomenal to see. But I feel, and maybe it's just me because it was a local boy watching it, and we had a kid in there that has been doing unbelievable. But it seemed like there was, ESPN, it's just because he's only won 1 tournament. ESPN didn't have, or Masters, or I'm sorry, PGA or Golf Channel really didn't have any love for Joel Damon. As when you
ESPN
saw
picked him as a sneaky player.
Well, when you saw all the tickers coming across, and that was one thing Billy and I talked about Saturday morning. I think 1 out of the 5 tickers we saw on ESPN said his name. Everything else was Morikawa tied for the lead with Rahm, Scheffler in the hunt. Nothing about the number.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the thing.
For
Joel
tickers,
Damon,
you're going to get the main.
yeah,
names,
and with Joel Damon being 130th in the world, still 130th in the world, and you're in contention 5 under after having a 1 over day there. He played extremely well, and you said he hit the ball long straight. He was hitting the greens in regulation. And with that being said, you've got to tip your cap to our buddy. And I even laughed with you. I joked with you. I said, what's the chances of it happening? But you got to give Gino a lot of creds with how things happened this week. Some of the targets he was giving and the yardages, the paces, Joel just played. And for him, that was unbelievable.
Yeah, we'll try to get Gino on and possibly Joel on at some point this summer. Obviously, they're very busy. They're getting ready to do the Travelers Championship here on Thursday. I have extended the offer to Gino. I've not heard back yet. We were messaging back and forth a little bit before the Open, and then he had liked a comment that I had said during it. But obviously, they're very, very busy, and I wasn't expecting to hear anything this week. Just said, hey, whenever you guys have time, we'd love to have it. So hopefully at some point, but like I said, they're still out east for the Travelers Championship starting on Thursday. So keep an eye out on that. I have no problem with the tickers and stuff. I was more disappointed with NBC and just not seeing Joel ever, especially on Saturday when, yes, he struggled and he had four bogeys early and kind of fell. But they were showing Morikawa, who was in his group, who struggled more than Joel.
Mm-hmm.
And you would see Morikawa hit his shot and then we'd go off to somebody else. And I joked with our buddy David that they're going to be down to the last group because Joel was in the final group on Saturday and Morikawa will make his shot. And then instead of showing Joel, they'll just show highlights because Joel was just there. I literally in the back nine saw him make 4 shots.
Yeah.
And again, I get it. He's 130th in the world. If you're not from this area, he's not a name that you care about. And you're going to see the Roms and the McElroys and the Morikawas get their shots in there. And if he would have started off a little bit stronger, then sure, maybe he gets a few extra looks on the screen. But either way, fantastic job by him. Just what a great story. And hopefully we can get that on the show, how he didn't even want to play.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't even going to try to qualify for the U.S. Open, his wife. And oh my God. Sorry. I just messaged Eric that I hope the Yankees hit this Paredes guy who has 3 home runs against the Yankees today. And they did. They hit him. So, I'm afraid to look at my Facebook because I just got a message from Eric. It's great. But no, congratulations to Joel. Top 10 at a major. And hopefully this is a great springboard. It sounded like he was a bit more confident after this week. We'll see what he does with the Travelers. And, he has 1 tournament win under his belt. See if he can get another.
Yeah. And a lot of people say, well, the field wasn't as big at Punta Cana where he won last year, but still what he was able to do over the last, year and to get the motivation from Gino and his wife to play and do it. I mean, it's unbelievable. The one thing, and you keep hearing it from his story, and I wonder if it starts to bug him any, is the constant, they always bring up the cancer thing with him. And I know that is a big piece of who he is, but with his sponsorship he gets with the bucket hats. And that's the other thing that I heard is that he didn't wear his hat near as much this past week.
Yeah, he didn't wear it at all this weekend. I don't know if that was part of, their car just disappearing on Friday night.
No, but he played the first hole on Saturday with it on, and he had a wind gust Saturday morning, and so he switched hats. And so then he went with the hat, and that was the funny is they laughed about that and they brought up the clip of Gino chasing his hat out there and had his win. And so that was a comment that was brought up to me a couple of different times by different people the last couple of days was, he didn't have his lucky hat on. No, yeah. I mean, he played well for especially how tough the course is. And listen, that was the other big thing we talked about. And you play the country club. The country club is known as probably the oldest golf club in the United States, and to play that and to still see things exactly the way they were kind of designed, back in the early 1900s, it's just cool. So
I'm trying to remember which hole was it that they turned into 2 holes. There's like a par 3. There was a hole, and if anybody's listening live right now and is know what I'm talking about, I remember them breaking this down at one point, but there was a par 4 that kind of goes over this open area to a green, and you look right at the end of the fairway used to be where the green was for that hole, and that other green was part of a par 3 just to the right of it, and they turned it into 1 hole instead of 2 and brought another hole into play. It's a really neat golf course over there. The stupid thing continues to try to play ads in my ear. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but it's driving me absolutely insane. ESPN needs to stop with that auto ad bull crap. I'm over here just trying to look at the scores, and it's like, hey, let's learn about some golf basketball camp. I don't care. Come on, man. But no, the 8th hole was my favorite. I never want to play that hole because if you hit it short, it rolls back to your feet. And that would be in my head completely. We saw Joel Damon have that issue on either Saturday or Sunday.
It was Saturday.
We saw one guy hit it right back to his feet, like 3 straight shots. just having a rough time. That would have been me by far. So yeah, I like that golf course. That's what I like about the U.S. Open too, is it makes it really difficult. It's kind of cool that it'll be in California next year, which will be good for us. Karma. I'll take an ad over having your guy not hit his 4th home run. All right, that's what I'll take. But yeah, be nice that it's in California and over here on the West Coast next year is now. Joe won't be teeing off at like 5 a.m. local time, where I miss his entire first round. But
Yeah,
very cool.
I think my favorite hole watching it, and I questioned a lot, and Billy and I talked about it Saturday morning, since it was just him and I bowling Saturday morning, was the idea of hole number 10. How many of them were playing with their 3-wood to play short of that rock that's out in the middle of in the right side of the fairway, and either just take driver and try to get as hard over that thing as you can, or you play 3-wood and play to the right side. But you and I talked about the idea of with John Rahm. We were watching the same thing. John Rahm had 3 consecutive shots from the sand.
Mm-hmm. Oh
With
yeah, where he
him
hit it right into the lip, and
yeah, ended up double bogey in 18, and you kind of feel bad for him to end his round there on Saturday.
As far as Eric's question, if we watch the first, is it live or live? How do you live turn? No, I don't care about that. I have no problem with the players going out trying to make their money. I also have no problem with the PGA Tour going, well, if you want to make your money, you get off our tour. There's a lot of hurt feelings in those situations, and we'll see what happens. I love how they said, no, you can't play, and then they all played at the U.S. Open, and it looks like Bryson DeChambeau is also playing. And I don't know. It's a headache. But no, I didn't watch any of it.
Yeah, Bryson decided last week that he will be playing at Portland next week. And the newest one, another top 50 guy, Brooks Koepka, today announces he's going to be playing in that one. And even this morning, they were talking about how his Twitter has changed, his connections with PGA, all that. But PGA has now made some big changes, or according to reports, that they're looking into making some changes next year with a couple more tournaments, some more added prize money, a couple of tournaments where they can try to compete, no cuts, but a smaller field, bigger prize pools, and we'll see. And then like increasing the Arnold Palmer Invitational, increasing the prize pool for that. But that's a lot of work on those guys to try to get the sponsorship to do that. We'll see what happens, but
yeah, honestly, if in the end, like some of these players make even more money, I know there's people out there that go, they make too much money already. But you know what? The reason why they make more money is because those events bring in so much money. So it's either the players get the money or the people running the event gets all the money, and the players get hosed from everything that they do. It's the same thing with all of the other sports where they're, baseball players get paid too much. Well, so you just want the owners to take it all. Is that what you're trying to say? But and no, ticket prices are not jacked up because of salaries are going up. Salaries are jacked up because ticket prices continue to go up. Now, they could make the salary cap in Major League Baseball $100 million. Ticket prices will not go down. They already know that they're going to get you to pay that much to come watch a game. They're not bringing it down anytime soon.
Yeah. Real quick, we'll finish off the U.S. Open and we'll move on. I know we've got lots of stuff to do. But hats off to Gino and Joel, and that's a team, and we'll talk. Yes. Hopefully, we'll get those guys on. But how about Matt Fitzpatrick goes 2 under on both Saturday and Sunday, does really well. My heart, let me tell you, it hurt. We were finishing up bowling and watching Will Zalatoris burn the edge of the cup on 18 to force a playoff. Cost him approximately $1.5 million.
And did I hear that right? We're just doing like 3-hole aggregate playoffs now for majors. I miss the full round playoffs for the U.S. Open. I mean, I know that's not logical anymore, but I miss them. And I heard them say that. But no, I was really surprised that Fitzpatrick just putted his in after he missed his chance to just clinch it. I thought he would wait and then see if Zalatoris makes his, and then he can have his moment of putting it in and winning the championship there instead of winning it off to the side. But
Right.
no, great job for Fitzpatrick, very young kid. I expect to see him on the leaderboards a lot more. Very cool that he won the amateur at that exact same golf course. Only he and Jack Nicklaus have ever done that. So that's quite the list to add yourself to. And
Yeah,
I have no problem with you talking more about the U.S. Open because our next topic, I don't care.
Yeah. So anyway, Fitzpatrick takes home $3.15 million. Zalatoris and Scheffler end up tying for second. They'll each take $1 million home. But again, we'll go one more time back to Joel for wanting to do this tournament. He's taken home $400,000. You know, that's pretty good chunk of change for finishing 10th for what he did and how he played. So hats off to him.
Yeah, pretty good payday for something you weren't expected to even be a part of. Let's quickly move on to the NBA. We won't waste a lot of time because neither of us really care. I watched more of the NBA finals than I usually do just for the show, just to say that I did. Was not that entertained still, but it was better. They played defense a little. But Golden State defeated Boston 103-90 to win their fourth title in 8 years. Steph Curry finally won his NBA Finals MVP. He went 34, 7, and 7. Draymond Green, who had a horrible finals, had a great game. What were we at? 5 or 6? It shows you how much I care. Game 6. 12 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists. I was laughing the entire fourth quarter. He just kept passing to people, trying to get them to shoot so he could get his triple-double. He wasn't even hiding the fact that he was trying to get those assist numbers up. He would be wide open and he would look around and then finally pass it to somebody. And if they didn't shoot, he kind of put his arms up every time. It was making me laugh completely. But the main thing is Steph Curry, 4 NBA titles now. Klay Thompson now 4 NBA titles. But Steph Curry is a top 10 player all time.
He's got to be moving up. I still see him in maybe the top 20 right now. I think he's still got a couple more years left. But for me, he's got to be top 25 easily players of all time. So
I'm with you. I don't think he's top 10 either. Again, I don't follow the NBA as much as I used to back in the 90s, but I will say that it'd be interesting to do the research and figure out where I would put Curry and Thompson as the best duos in NBA history. They're not the top by any means, but it shows what happens when Thompson went out for the 2 years with his ACL tears and all of his injuries and Steph Curry having his issues, how bad the Warriors got there for a couple of years. And then Clay's finally healthy and Curry kind of gets things going and they come back and win the championship. So it would be interesting. Maybe that'll be a sports related draft at some point just to have me try to figure that stuff out. But very good duo between those two.
Oh, yeah. How about Klay Thompson coming back up the day after he won, comes to Pullman with the trophy and has pictures out on the field, out on the football field, out in front of all that. It's cool to see how much love a Cougar gets, and he comes back to Pullman to celebrate.
Not many of them win anything. So when you do win something, you're going to get celebrated. The NBA draft again is this Thursday. Gonzaga's Chet Holmgren is expected to go in the top 5. Your top 5 picks go to Orlando, Oklahoma City, Houston, Sacramento, and Detroit. Robert, where does Chet Holmgren end up?
I think he goes Oklahoma City. I really think he'll go number 2. I think they always are looking for a big guy, and I think he could be that piece that finally helps Oklahoma City get back on track and make it back to the playoffs.
I'm going to say he drops a little bit. Give him to Detroit at number 5. That'll be my pick. We'll see what happens on Thursday. There's just one thing I can guarantee you. I will not be watching. And when I do look to see who the Knicks drafted, I guarantee you I've never heard of them. And I watch college basketball. I enjoy college basketball, so I know some of these players. But I guarantee you the Knicks, who are, I think, pick 11, are going to draft somebody I've never heard of in my life. Those are the 2 guarantees I can give you. All right, sir. I got some help from Denny Grubb messaging the wrong person last week to get the Who Am I? If you are just tuning in or if you missed the last couple weeks, our Who Am I topic is Robert doesn't know how to mute a mic. Our Who Am I topic is Robert picks a sports figure and gives me hints on who he is, and we'll do it throughout the show and see if I'm able to get it right or not. I am done vaping. Robert needs to stop talking, and we can continue on with the show.
We're
Jeez,
trying.
Denise.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's all Denise's fault. We're trying.
Ah,
She's finally getting home. We're trying to figure out the heat situation.
it's hot. That's the
It is hot.
situation. All right, give me my first set of clues.
All right. Today you only have 8 little pieces, so you only get 2 to start with. Here you go. I
God.
was born in 1978, so he's in between your age and my age. Well, I just gave you a hint. It's a male
He.
athlete.
Cool. Thanks. So there's 9 parts. Okay. Give me
I
my
was
other clue.
I was born into an athletic family. My mom was a professional basketball player. My dad was a highly respected handball player, and my sister was a track and field champion.
It's Reggie Miller.
That's all you get right now.
I have no idea. Reggie Miller is my first guess.
Reggie Miller is wrong.
I don't know. This is stupid. I hate this game. I hate it so much. Can we talk baseball?
Sure, let's talk baseball.
Oh, what a play. God darn it. I don't want to talk about baseball. I'm done. That would hats off to the Rays for that double play they just turned. What a play. That was really, really, really good.
Listen, the Giants game and the Braves game has been back and forth. Now the Giants are back in front, 8-7 in the bottom of the 6th. It's been
if they would have played this weekend, I would have picked that as my series to watch this week, but I tried not to pick series that are basically over by the time our show comes on. I've been very interested in that series. Very telling on where they stand as far as the NL goes. Obviously, it's been 2 great games so far. Yesterday's game was a much lower scoring game. And then here with the Giants and Braves today, like you said, very, very high scoring. And yes, that they will play. Chef's kiss, Eric. Eric, a Rays fan listening in. Totally agree with him on that one. We'll go through the scoreboard real quick. My Yankees are losing to the Rays 5-2. That one in now the bottom of the 8th inning. Bottom of the 9th, Dodgers, not surprisingly, beating the Reds 8-2. Tied in the 7th, Rockies and Marlins at 8 in the 7th inning. Nationals 2, Orioles nothing in the bottom of the 8th. Pirates 7, Cubs 1 in the 8th inning. Red Sox over the Tigers 5-3 in the 7th. Like we said, Giants over the Braves 8-7 through 6 innings there. Also through 6 innings, the Guardians leading the Twins 3-2. Phillies and Rangers are scoreless in the 5th inning. Bottom of the 4th inning, Astros over the Mets 3-0. Bottom of the 5th inning, White Sox over the Blue Jays 1-0. Blue Jays with 0 hits through 5 innings. That's a theme we'll be talking about here shortly. Cardinals over the Brewers 3-2 in the 4th. And still to come this evening, Royals and Angels, Diamondbacks and Padres, and your Mariners, who are now 10 games under 500 against the Athletics.
Which should be 3 easy wins, but nothing seems to come easy now, as everything is starting to implode. As you watch and listen to Twitter, people are calling for Scott Service's job, and I don't know if it's Scott Service's issue. I think it's more of the guys just aren't producing like they were, a month ago. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out here.
We thought they were a young team that, I thought they overperformed last year and thought they were a year ahead of schedule. I thought they were going to be much better this year, and they just have not yet so far, whether that's Service or not. And usually the manager is the one that's going to get all the blame, but you're going to give him the blame there. You have to give him all the credit last year for completely overperforming. By the way, it's Dylan Cease who is throwing the no-hitter through 5 innings for the White Sox. He has 9 strikeouts. He's walked 2, and he's 82 pitches right now through 5 innings. So for him to go the full 9 will be very difficult. But Garrett Cole was in that same situation for the Yankees. He ended up giving up his no-hitter in the 8th inning. And in fact, they lost the lead. It was tied 2-2 in the 8th. After he was pulled, but he looked absolutely unhittable there for a little bit, and then a line drive right back up the middle that Garrett Cole kind of dove out of the way from. gave the Rays their first hit. And we've seen a lot of that all of a sudden. Where how many times have we been to the ninth inning with a no-hit bid in the last couple weeks and
I
just
want to
haven't
say
gotten that next one?
I want to say there's been 3 of them. There's been 3 that have been so close. One within the last out, and
Right.
then it's crazy to see. You know, we talked a little bit about it last year. Is how, and I think we dove into why it was last year a little bit tougher for the batters early in the season was just because there was no preseason. There was nothing there for these guys, no extra spring training stuff. And so I think that had a lot to do with it. So now this year, what's the difference? Is the pitchers just finally just going a little bit harder at it, and the batters are just not.
No,
You
honestly, I
can't
think
hear
the
the
batting
poor.
numbers are peaking back up. They struggled early on, which they do every year.
Mhm.
Pitchers are always ahead of the batters, but I think the batters are catching up. It's just that's what happens with no hitters. We have great pitching out there, and if they can get on a roll and just hits are going to go right to people. We're going to have a sports related draft on the best catches. 2 of my 3 best catches were in no hit or perfect game bids that really changed the sway of those, and those would not be in the record books without these great catches. And you need luck like that as far as no hitters go. I mean, you and I are both bowlers.
Mhm.
The difference between a 300 and a 279 is a lucky break.
Mhm. Mhm. And that's
I
what.
don't think I have 6 300s in my life. Not one of them did I throw 12 perfect strikes. I've had to get lucky, and I've had many 279s or 290 this or whatever, even 250s where I thought I threw the ball even better than any of my 300s, and it's just whether you get the break or not.
Yeah,
And then that's the same with no hitters.
100%. Bill, that happened with me on Saturday. Billy made a suggestion to me the last game of our singles. I made the little bit of a change, and I leave a 10 pin and a 7 pin in a 266 game. And I felt like I was right close to the pocket the entire time. I
Yeah.
wasn't forcing it. It just, you got to get a lucky. I mean, the entry angle just ever so much. So I mean,
Oh
it's
yeah.
got to be. It's the same thing with pitching and hitting and all that. You've got to hit those spots every time if you're going to be perfect and to make the guys miss. I mean, we're talking inches, if not half inches.
Yeah, and especially with baseball, with 8 other people, or I guess 7 people behind you, the catcher's in front of you, but they have to go out, do their jobs, and make great plays too. And sometimes they're going to make this fantastic play, and sometimes they're not. Sometimes they'll boot it or not get to a ball that they should, or not make the miraculous catch. There was no chance of making the catch in the Garrett Cole situation, as it went right back up the middle. But it's just no hitters are fluky, and I don't think it's any point of the pitcher is just that much more dominant because. I mean, yes, Cole was very dominant. He struck out 12 in just over 7 innings that he pitched, but the difference between him getting the no decision or getting the no hitter was just a couple lucky breaks throughout the way and not being at like 120 pitches on top of it. But that's
Mhm.
that's just how I feel about those. Aaron Judge will have his arbitration hearing on Friday. To me, it's going to be the fastest arbitration hearing of all time. I don't think that Zoom call is lasting more than 5 minutes.
Yeah. What was the article I read a little bit ago as I was typing it in? He's just gonna, according to that, he's just gonna sit back in his nice little suit and listen to his lawyer go. I mean, they're fighting over $4 million.
Yeah. Because I
So
don't even think they're even fighting. It's just like Aaron Judge says, it's just a business part of it.
right.
That's the whole thing of arbitration is they set up, the team offers one thing, the player offers another, and then you have to make it close enough because it's not okay, we'll meet in the middle. The arbiter is going to pick one or the other. So
Yeah.
I think that's why Judge only went for 21 million, because if you go even higher, then the arbiter might not go with you and they'll pick them the team's number, which in this case is 17 million. But
Right.
like John Boy says on his Twitter, all you have to do is the arbiter is going to look at the Yankees and it goes, "Did you offer him a contract?" They're going to go, "Yes." "How much did you offer him?" They're going to say $31 million a year. He's going to hit the gavel and say, "Well, he gets 21 million then."
Mhm.
The Yankees offered him well more than this $21 million. So obviously the Yankees also believe that he is worth at least $21 million.
Yeah,
It's the fastest arbitration hearing ever.
and the funny thing is he's, even in the article I read, and even from stuff we've talked about in in spring training time, he said he wants to be in New York. He wants to play there, but things things are gonna go awry, I think, if he does not get.
I don't know. So here's the interesting thing, and I don't want this to completely go into a Yankee topic again, because obviously people around here are not Yankee fans, but I think it's a very interesting topic, and you can go with any other team. Now, MLB does not have a salary cap, so it kind of changes things. Like, look at the Seattle Seahawks football wise with Russell Wilson, and they pay him, and then the team starts to slack off a little bit because you can't then pay other positions like you used to, and the team falls a little bit. Next thing you know, you're moving Russell Wilson. Baseball, again, no salary cap, so it's a little bit different. But if you're a Yankee fan this year, or take it for any other year, for any other team going down the line, say Julio Rodriguez turns out to be the beast that a lot of people are portraying him to be, where he is the next top 5 player and he'd be the best player for the Mariners since Ken Griffey Jr. Would you take a career year from Julio Rodriguez to give you that World Series, but the next year he signs with somebody else for some ridiculous amount of money?
I'd rather see, yes, I'd love to see a championship, but I would love to see more of a consistent year, a few years, kind of like what we had, towards the late 90s, early 2000s. So, but, to have a championship come to Seattle, that'd be nice. It would be lovely.
And I think that's the question for the Yankees too, because I honestly don't think the Yankees are going to break the bank for Aaron Judge. If there's a team out there, say the San Diego Padres, the San Francisco Giants, the Dodgers, whatever, if they go out there and offer Aaron Judge 10 years for $400 million, the Yankees are going to go say, see ya. Mm-hmm. Take care. And if Judge continues what he's been doing, he's had a fantastic year so far, and he's part of a Yankees team that is out there breaking records. They're already at 50 wins. If he continues, and say he hits 60 home runs, because he's on pace for about that right now. I don't expect him to, but say he finishes the season with 60 home runs, Yankees finish with 110 wins, they go through, they win the World Series, and one of those teams offers him 10 years, $40 million a year. Even though I want Judge to be a Yankee for the rest of his career, would say, well, take the money and run, Judge. I have no problem with that. I would not blame Judge for taking the money. I would not blame the Yankees for saying no, thank you. And that's just thank you for the World Series, and you move on. The same thing happened with Robinson Cano. The Mariners offered him far too much money. The Yankees said goodbye. As a Yankee fan, I was disappointed at the moment, but who was disappointed at the end? Mariner fans, because Robinson Cano turned out to be a pretty good second baseman, and you guys overpaid for him, and he ended up going to New York, and now he's like in the Padres farm system or something.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, you even think about some of the other moves that Seattle has done and moved on from. The biggest one probably was A-Rod. A-Rod taking all that money to go to Texas, and then turns out to be one of the best players. And I say that with the asterisk. I'm going to put that asterisk with it.
He was a fantastic player. He had no problem getting the extra help. We'll say that.
That's a nice way of saying that.
Sure. I'm not a big A-Rod fan, even though he was a Yankee, and it's no thank you. All-Star voting going on right now. That's tomorrow is when phase 1 gets done, and then the top 5 or whatever in each position goes into a new pool.
Yeah, I believe phase 1 ends up where phase 1 ends is from June 8th to June 30th. So we still got a week to go.
We got a week. Yeah.
A week to go on phase 1, but I did put the names on there on our sheet, to talk a little bit about. And we'll go through them really quick, and we'll go fast about them. But are you shocked by any of the names that we put out there? I think catcher for the National League, we're pretty, I think, in agreement with Contreras and R&R both leading for the National League, and I think they're the Alonso and Goldschmidt also leading.
Goldie's been fantastic. You can't be upset about Goldie.
Nope. Then you've got Chisholm Jr. along with Albies. Albies being hurt, that number is probably going to change a little bit. You think? You look at that number, and you look at that list. Who do you move up? You've got Jake Cronenworth. He's sitting 6th right now. Colton Wong, who is finally starting to get his feet again. Who moves up that list for you on that for second base?
For second base?
Yeah.
None. I like Chisholm. I think he's up there, no problem. Albies, even though he's hurt, fans are still going to vote for him.
Mm-hmm.
I know Jeff McNeil is close. The Mets have had a fantastic year too. That could be pretty interesting. You look at third base, Machado in that same boat where he just came down with an injury. It looked worse than it ended up being, but he could be out for a good amount. But he's going to end up getting the vote. And then whether it's Arenado or Riley or Turner that will take his place, I think. Honestly, looking at these lists, usually I have issues with them from the fans. I'm not seeing a ton, to be honest with you, especially in the National League. There's not a lot of names out there right now that I'm just going, well, that doesn't make any sense. None of them.
No, you're 100%. Even looking at a couple of the outfielders, I mean, you're going to be deep in the outfield, but you got Mookie Betts, Acuna, and Peterson. By far the top 3 there. You can add Soto in that list. He's sitting 5th right now. Chris Taylor also in that list. Cody Bellinger in that list. They're going to be close, but we still have, they've only been doing it for about a week and a half, so they've got about a week left of voting.
Yeah, a lot of votes, and teams are going to really start pushing to get votes out there, and you can vote like 8,000 times anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Some weird system that they do. You look at the American League. Catcher is really interesting to me because there's no like top of the line named pitchers. Salvador Perez has not had the best season, and he's kind of hitting the end of his career. So Alejandro Kirk, who's had a fantastic career or season for Toronto, I think rightfully so, has a huge lead in that position. It is hilarious to me that the backup catcher for the Yankees, Jose Trevino, is second, but he's been a fantastic story. Very cool for your Mariners.
Look at the vote difference, though. Did you see the vote difference between Kirk and Trevino, first and second in the American League, is over 600,000 votes. It's just crazy.
Rightfully so. Trevino is a backup catcher. Just catcher is not a very good position in the American League right now.
Mm-hmm.
And Kirk has been fantastic. Vlad, we all knew, was going to be the top vote getter in first base. But again, very cool for Ty France to be second right now, just ahead of Anthony Rizzo of the Yankees. It's the same kind of thing. Actually, Altuve does not have as big of a lead as I was expecting with some of the names we have at second base. It's very cool. So let's just say this. Toronto fans know how to vote.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Toronto names are all over these lists, and it's not surprising. Actually, the one name that's going to shock me that is not leading, I know you asked a question on our list of who's surprising to be not in the top 2, and he's second. But how Jose Ramirez is not blowing away everybody at third base is the only part of the fan voting that I've looked at and went, no, they're getting that wrong. He's the only person that's going to challenge Aaron Judge for MVP this year in the American League.
Well, he's only 16,000 votes behind.
But he should be. He should have a Kirk lead.
Yes, I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
Like right now in the outfield, Aaron Judge is at 1.5 million. Trout is at 1.3 million. Third place is 600,000. That's what Ramirez should be having at third base right now. Mm-hmm. Devers should be well behind in that position, not barely ahead of Jose Ramirez. And how about Ohtani not leading DH?
Well, but you got to look at what Yordan Alvarez has been doing too.
I
He's
get
been
that.
doing, yeah, he's been doing unbelievable things in Houston, and so, but to trail by almost 300,000
Mhm.
votes,
I get that,
it's
but
just,
it's a fan vote, and
mhm.
Otani, he's the face of MLB The Show. He's the face of everything right now, and here he is not leading the vote. As home run, Yankees down by 1. Oh man, they're down to their final out, so it's a little stressful over here. Not really. The fact they're 50-17, I'm worried about a regular season game against the Rays. Just it's fun. It's a fun time to be a Yankee. By the way, Yankees 50-17. Do you know what their record was after 13 games this year?
What was it like?
Seven and
6 and
six.
7. I was
They were
6 and 7.
they were 7-6, and now they're 50-17. It's just silly. So yeah, did you really care about the squirrel? I see it's in our notes.
I was laughing so hard watching the field crew trying to trap the squirrel that was out on the field in Pittsburgh the other day. That was quite funny. But how do you let a squirrel
Well, the
into a
squirrel is
ballpark?
about
I
this big.
just-
You have entryways that are like
I-
this big. That's the reason why cats get onto the field and squirrels, and it happens.
we're
You play the sport outside.
we're talking downtown Pittsburgh though. That's what's weird.
Squirrels can live in downtown Pittsburgh. There's like 7 trees there, and that's why they went to the field. It's the most green they've ever seen. I mean, that squirrel was in paradise. I guarantee it. All right, let's get into our power rankings and our weekly awards so far for Major League Baseball, and it's kind of boring.
Mm-hmm.
We've kind of hit the boring part. Oh, and Judge just hit it up just short. Oh, that was sad. That was a warning track shot by Judge. That's sad. Congratulations, Eric, if you're still listening. Tied the series up. That's not changing my power rankings, and actually, we're nearly the same. Yankees, Mets, Dodgers, Astros are my top 4. I think the Yankees are far and away the best team right now. Mets, I still like over the Dodgers. Astros are the second best team in the American League. That'll be a fun series. We'll talk about that here shortly. And you had Atlanta in there last week, and I wouldn't have thought a team that lost twice to the Chicago Cubs this weekend would move up in my rankings. But I didn't really like what I've seen from Toronto, who was my 5th team. San Diego's kind of been hit or miss the last week or two. Yep, 50-18. Oh, man. What a horrible record. So, yeah, I moved the Atlanta Braves up to my 5th spot. I honestly think right now it's June. We have more than half the season to go, and October is a goofy thing. But I think right now the World Series is going to come between the Yankees, Astros, Mets, and Dodgers.
Yeah, it's gonna be really close there. I'm the same with you. You and I have the top 4, but you can look at the next 4 spots and throw any of these 4 in there. You said that last week when I put the Braves there, but you could say San Diego, you can say Minnesota, you can say Toronto, you can say Atlanta.
You
Any
could be
one of
San
those.
Francisco.
You could even San Francisco in that, it'd be stretching a little bit to put the Rays up there, but sorry, Eric.
The Rays, honestly, again, every year people discount the Tampa Bay Rays, and every year they exceed expectations. Unfortunately for Tampa Bay, they're just having ridiculous injury issues right now. They even lost a player that ended up being the game-winning hit for the Yankees. But he went up. I'm blanking on his name right now, and Eric, please let me know because I can't think of it right now. But he went up to try to make a catch against the right field wall, came down lame, and it did not look good at all. But they're just riddled with injuries, and every team does every year deal with injuries. But the Rays they're Baltimore Ravens of the MLB right now.
Yeah, we know injuries here lately, so that's been thing. But with that being said, it's back to those 4 teams. You could put any one of them in there. I moved the Braves down just because of the whole loss to Chicago of all things, and I just kept the Padres up, and I moved them up for the first time in the top 5. with that being said, how long is Machado going to be out? It'll be questionable. I think we are hands down going to see these top 4 teams stay in the top 4 for a while until something major happens, and it will be interesting to see what happens as a botch play by San Francisco.
There you go.
And the
Manuel
Braves,
Margot.
yeah. Atlanta now cuts it to 1 in the bottom of the 7, 9 to 8. So
real quick, because I didn't get to see the beginning of the Yankees Rays game because Haley and I were out doing our normal Tuesday chores and stuff. There was a home run in this Yankees Rays game by Harold Ramirez. I'm going to give you. Well, I guess I already said it was a home run, so I already ruined this. But he hit the ball 85 miles an hour at a launch angle of 33 degrees.
wow.
If you put the spray chart out for all of the other hits that were at the same exit velocity and the same launch angle as the home run hit by Harold Ramirez, you're batting 0-23.
That's just crazy to think about. 33 degrees, 85 miles an hour. That's
and
like
he hit a home run.
that's crazy nuts. Crazy nuts.
It was the lowest exit velocity of any over-the-wall home run ever tracked by StatCast. And that happened in the Yankee Rays game today. There you go. Baseball's
Crazy.
fun. So, yeah, we had 4 of the 5 the same in our top 5. Our bottom 5 are identical because it's just we're starting to get to that point where we're starting to understand teams a bit more. Royals are 28th. Nationals are 29th. Oakland A's are 30th. Cubs are close to that, but they took 2 of 3 from the Braves. The Reds continue to be near the bottom of the barrel, too. There's a lot of crappy teams in baseball right now, but we agree on the bottom 3. Player of the week for me, I know you hate to say it, Mike Trout crushed the Seattle Mariners. He loves to play against Seattle. He only had 7 hits, but 5 of them left the yard, and he ended up with 9 RBI. So he's my player of the week.
That's why I didn't message Alicia any over the last few days because I knew that would be exactly what she would tell me. Listen, you could do. I did it a couple weeks ago, taking Alvarez. I mean, he just totally crushed the Mariners. I could have easily went that way. I decided not to. I went with a pitcher just to be different this week. Give me Nick Pivetta of Boston. He looked really good. 2 wins this week. Had a 1.2 ERA. Gave up just 7 hits and 15 innings of work. Struck out 13, and opposing batters were batting just 140. So, and you could a couple of the highlights from his first game. You watch how fired up he was coming off the mound. He just looked like he was in a zone this week. So, might as well hand it to a pitcher.
Yeah, why not? My series to watch, again, I would have been the Braves Giants, but that series is basically near the end right now. So Houston Yankees, 2 of the 4 teams that we have in both of our power rankings going at it. First of 2 over the next 2 weeks, this one at Yankee Stadium. 4-game set between the 2 should be pretty fun.
Yeah, and then I go just the same direction I do a number 2 team and probably a number 5 team. And to me, the Dodgers and Braves, I think that's going to be a great 3-game set. Yours is a 4-game set, so it'll be an interesting weekend with a couple of these series.
Yeah, some better series going on than we've had the last couple of weekends. Don't forget, you are watching the R&R Sports Report during our summer version. That will be Facebook and YouTube only. I share it on Twitter too, but I can never see your guys' comments if you're watching on that. Just a reminder, we are exactly 10 followers away from 600. Once we hit 600, we'll put the poll up, and whoever gets the most votes will go train with a MMA group and get their butts kicked for an hour or 2 or however long we can last. And the other one will be there for moral support and to laugh. That's just how it's going to work. I always want to bring that up. And for the 590 of you that are following our page, we thank you so much. And we very much appreciate it as we get closer and closer to episode 90. And come the fall, we'll hit episode 100 and just continue to trek along.
Mm-hmm.
All right, sir. We're back to Who Am I? And we're getting ready for part 2. If you are listening live, get ready. We're doing the sports-related draft. We will have visual aid for this sports-related draft. I have zero problems getting copyright claims on our YouTube videos that get 0 views. So we're just going to have fun with it. But go ahead. Part 2 of Who Am I?
All right. So you're Who Am I this week? The first part of the clues I did give out to Randy. I was born in 1978, and I was born into an athletic family. Here are your next clues.
such easy clues. I was born, and I was part of an athletic family. That's great.
Listen,
Go ahead.
you wanted me to go somebody
Yes,
that was closer in age to us than where I went the last 2, but
I appreciate it. Go ahead. Let's hear it.
All right. I was a multi-sport athlete. I started out as a handball player and then became a ranked junior tennis player on the youth circuit. I grew at an alarming rate and was tired of being called a freak because of my height, so I started playing basketball. I stand 7 feet tall. Those are your 2 clues.
7-foot tall basketball player that played tennis. I got nothing. Yet.
I'm hoping I get to stump you. So
probably will. Eric, help me out.
No, that's
all right. We're going to get to our sports related draft. And just like last week, we are going to leave it up to Nowitzki. Is he 7 feet tall? Is Dirk Nowitzki 7 feet tall? Robert is ignoring me.
What's up?
Is it Nowitzki?
Is it Nowitzki? I don't know. We'll have to see here in a few minutes.
Yeah, it's Nowitzki. I didn't think Nowitzki was 7 feet tall. For whatever reason, I thought he was a little bit shorter than that. But we'll get to it. Sports-related draft time. Again, if you are listening in and you want to chime in your vote, I know Eric's listening, but anybody else that is still tuned in right now, you can be a guest judge this week. We did it last week. We had a lot of fun with it. Came down to a 2-1 vote. The Grubs picked the correct winner, who is me. I have now won 2 weeks in a row, and I now, what are we at to? I'm up 13-7, but it is Robert's turn to pick the topic, and he picked a really interesting one.
Yeah, the only reason I did it is because one of the catches was an anniversary catch here a few weeks ago, and I was very shocked that you let me take that catch. I'm just telling you right now, as my first catch, I was very shocked that you allowed me to take it.
Well, once again, I did a theme, and I went not only for the difficulty of the catch, but the importance of the moment, which there is a catch in history that has a very important aspect to it. But spoilers, you and I think it's a slightly overrated. So it's not going to make our list, even though it has the name, The Catch. Go figure. Now, I'm going to ask
we're going to
you.
make a few people up. We'll make a few people upset about that.
That's fine. Willie Mays is not on our list. Just put it right out there. We'll talk about it at the end. But I'm going to leave it up to you. Do we show the clip first and then talk about it, or do you want to talk about it first and then show the clip?
I think we talk about it first and then show the clip.
Okay. My first pick saved a perfect game. This was on July 23rd, 2009. It was U.S. Cellular Field for the Chicago White Sox against Eric's Tampa Bay Rays. Don't hate me, Eric. Is just a great moment. He came in, did Dwayne Wise, in the 9th inning as a defensive replacement. And as baseball always does, you make a defensive substitution, the ball goes right to them. He made a ridiculous catch, actually caught it twice off the bat of Gabe Kepler to save the perfect game for Burley and the White Sox. And even though I hate the commentators for the White Sox, it was a pretty good call. So I will show you that now. That one. There we go. So here's my catch. Here's my top catch all time. Again, for the moment. Saving the perfect game.
Left center field. Wise back. Makes the catch. What a play. Dwayne Wise makes the catch. What a play by Wise. Mercy.
Just the amount of space he had to cover to get to that one, bounces it off the wall, re-catches it as the impact of the wall knocked it out of his glove. Fantastic play to save the perfect game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great catch, saves the game for Burley. But you said it 100%. I mean, it's always about the ball seems to find you when you make a change. But I think there's a lot of catches that we didn't put on this list that you could easily argue, and we'll talk about some of those catches here in a minute. But for me, and it was just because why this topic came up, has to be, and they called it living on the prayer. This catch by Jim Edmonds, the dive, and you watch him diving away from the field of play, heading in towards center field. I think it, hands down for me, I think it's, and I'm going to say it, I know I'm going to piss some people off, but I think it's better than Willie Mays' catch. And they compare it a lot to being the catch. And so let's set the mood a little bit. It is Kauffman Stadium, June 10th, 1997, 5th inning, 2 outs, 2 on, and Jim Edmonds is going to rob David Howard of extra base hits. And this goes on to being the starting point of Jim Edmonds getting the Gold Glove this first year. And again, this catch has been compared to Willie Mays' catch a few different times. So we'll watch the clip.
The next time he faced Matt, there's a fly ball center field, long run for Jim Edmonds. Oh, he made a catch! Unbelievable!
Now that catch saves 2 runs and keeps the Angels in the topic there. So
it's a great catch. The reason why Willie Mays stays up on the list is because the importance of the moment is a bit better than a 1-1 game in June. But,
right.
I mean, and that's the big difference. It's the difficulty of the catch compared to the importance of the moment. And yeah, Willie Mays' catch is fantastic in a big situation. At Polo Grounds is no joke. But oh my God, every time I see the Jim Edmonds catch, it's pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my next one, before Robert can go homer, and he's going homer the rest of this way. Spoiler.
No.
Absolutely.
So you're going homer first.
I'm going homer on this one. Listen, I looked up some lists as we were going into this. Robert did warn me that this was most likely going to be our topic last week, and I've been looking into things, and this ends up in a lot of top 5s, so I didn't feel so bad. Again, it's the moment. It's a July game, but back in 2004, this is back when the Yankees and the Red Sox are battling out for the division every single year. This is right after, I think this is the year, right? 2004 is the year that the Red Sox finally broke the curse. 2003, I think, was the Aaron Boone home run. So this is right in the heat of the Yankees-Red Sox series. 12th inning in a tie game. The bases are loaded with 2 outs in this game. And Derek Jeter ends up in the crowd after making a catch that's right on the line. Might have landed fair. Saved the inning, saved the game. A fantastic play. And here's the Derek Jeter play.
1-2. He loops that to left field. Going to be a tough.
How far he has to go.
Makes the play and flies into the stands. Oh, what a play by Derek Jeter!
Wow. Knocked himself loopy. Fantastic play. Homerish or not, it's a fantastic play.
I mean, you give yourself a chance at that, and like you said, I was right in the midst of the whole big thing with Boston trying to get back into it, finally getting to their World Series. So it was a great game. So,
All right. I went homer. Your turn to go homer.
I'm going to go homer this time, and you can't say enough about the kid. The kid made so many catches, and it's hard to narrow.
The best one.
I did pick the best one.
No,
I
you
think
did not.
I think I did.
There's 2 more. There's one. So it's not even. This is where it's at. Trying to find these clips on YouTube. All of these were really easy to find. The one clip. The pick that you picked for Ken Griffey, the only way I could find it is in a collection of hits or catches that Griffey had because he had so many. I could not find it solo anywhere. By the way, the greatest Ken Griffey catch is the one that happens after this one, but you didn't pick it.
So are you saying the one that in Detroit?
No spoilers. I'll show it. I'll show it.
All right. So I'm going with the catch where he robs Jesse Barfield of his 200th home run. And you watch him, and it's at Yankee Stadium, 1990. Yep. He is a second-year player. This is just his second season in the big league. And he ends up making a catch roughly in the same area where his dad made kind of close to the exact same place in Yankee Stadium. And so I think it easily in the top of all of Ken Griffey's catches. He's made a whole bunch of catches, but I'm going with this one, Robin Jesse Barfield.
Fly ball into deep left center field. Griffey going back to the 1-8 track, leaps high in the air, and he's got it! An incredible catch by the kid! He takes away a home run!
Mike Trout did this better years later.
Climbing the wall in left center field in Death Valley here at Yankee Stadium. Look at Barfield.
I do like that view of Barfield. Just
I don't believe it.
Got MVP potential.
This is the best Griffey
fly
catch.
ball hit deep into the gap in right center field.
This is the one where he breaks his hand.
Yes. Does not care about his health. Makes a ridiculous catch into the wall. That's the best Griffey catch.
And he misses the next like 3 months, 2.5 months with that. I think
catch
they're
itself fantastic.
Yeah, they're like I said, he was a human highlight reel, but I still think where he was still young, he came out. That was his second big year, make a big play like that. So I'm going that way.
All right, my last one. Once again, going back to the big moments. Washington Nationals had not had a no-hitter in team history up until 2014. Jordan Zimmerman, final game of the regular season against the Miami Marlins, goes up there trying to get their first no-hitter. He is 1 out away from doing so, and this play happens.
Kristen Yelich is 0 for 3 today. And a ball driven to left center. Souza. He's got it! He's got it! It's a no-hitter for Jordan Zimmerman!
I'm sorry. This is the best catch ever to end a no-hitter, by far. First no-hitter ever for the Nationals. That's how you end a season right there. Steven Souza with the ridiculous catch. Former Ray. Since I know Eric is still listening. Great play.
So he cannot vote because he's going to go with you because I already know that. That can't happen.
He's the only one here.
Another great catch, saving the opportunity, a diving catch. There's, like I said, we'll talk about some of the other catches, but for me, my last one has to be probably the best Ichiro catch ever. It happens there in Safeco Field against the Los Angeles Angels. That's when they had switched just back to LA. He takes a 2-run home run away from Garrett Anderson, and you see his entire torso above the top of the wall. How he,
you know why?
There is
he misplayed it. He misplays this ball. Period.
Wow.
Just watch. Here's the play. He misplays the ball. He's so athletic, though. He is able to correct and make the catch, but he misplays that ball.
Missed that voice, the voice of Dave Niehaus there.
Dave Niehaus is fantastic. But he misplays this ball and has to turn around and save himself because he was that athletic. I will give Ichiro all that credit.
Dave, it looked like he ran right up the wall to make that catch.
Great play, but he misplayed the ball. There you go. That is our picks. Just a reminder for anybody listening live, you can vote right now. But for me, it's Dwayne Wise saving the perfect game. Derek Jeter diving into the crowd, and Steven Souza clinching Washington Nationals' first no-hitter with his diving catch. For Robert, it is the Jim Edmonds dive. It's the Ken Griffey robbing of Jesse Barfield, robbing him of his 200th home run, and Ichiro, as he says, playing Spider-Man on the wall. Until the Ichiro catch? We'll see. I don't know if he's going to pick the win or not, or if that just made it closer. I don't know if that's a win or not, but we will stay there. We'll go through our honorable mentions real quick. These do not count towards the voting, but we just had some fun, kind of like the minor league teams out there. We won't hit on these too much, but it's not the greatest catch of all time, but Kevin Mitchell's barehanded catch as he's running into foul territory. Every time I see this clip, it always makes me laugh. It's just a ridiculous catch. It's so unnecessary. Again, talk about somebody misplaying the ball.
And he opened the door to leave.
Right. That's even better.
In my entire life, I've never seen that happen.
It's just great.
Look at that.
Just, again, completely misplays it, but makes the catch. And your honorable mention?
So for my honorable mention, it has to be one that I actually saw, and I remember watching this game live on TV, and it was at the old Fulton County Stadium. That was when we only got to watch the Atlanta Braves before all of Fox came out and a ton of ESPN coverage. And it was Otis Nixon taking away Andy Van Slyke's 2-run home run. 1992 was the year that they go to the World Series and win it.
I like how this one says Spider-Man too.
Deep right center field. Nixon goes as far as he can go.
Pretty good play. That wall is really tall.
10 feet tall wall. I did look at some numbers from some field dimensions, but it's crazy to think about. Now, I love that play, but there's so many more that we didn't talk about. We could have talked about Kirby Puckett in the World Series.
Kirby Puckett one was really close on mine.
We could talk about Kenny Lofton making the play in Cleveland where he almost goes over the field in right center field. We didn't even talk about Josh Donaldson's catch that easily could have been a couple years ago. There's so many different ones that you could have put in that one. Sandy Alomar hanging over the edge, making that catch. So there's a lot of different catches that could have made that list. But I like it. We got to vote.
He's picking it because he saw Ichiro in person. Not about the catches. He just got to see Ichiro in person. Did you not see Steven Souza in person, Eric? He was no Ichiro, but
how about one that was like farther down the list, and it was one that always sticks in my mind, and I was wondering if we were going to talk about it. How about the old setup when the new place at Minute Maid Park comes open, and Lance Berkman has to run up the hill and then fall over.
I'll never vote for anything that has anything to do with that hill. But I will say that it has to weird baseball dimensions. We might have to do that draft, and then I will vote for that stupid hill. Absolutely horrible.
That was before they put all the train stuff in, and yeah. So
I'm starting to think it might be you.
We even didn't even talk about Gary Matthews Jr.'s catch. You know, also in Arlington against Houston. So there was a lot of them.
There's a lot of them out there.
The jumbo shrimp. We talked about the jumbo shrimp. So I love it. Love it. I'm getting closer. I'm inching closer.
You got one win. I have won the last two. I don't know what you're talking about. Marking it in there.
I like it.
Oop, wrong color.
Mark it in there. And go.
So sad. So sad to lose. But this is a fun topic. We've had a couple really fun topics. You now have 8 wins. I have 13. So congratulations goes to you.
Woohoo!
I will give you that. Let's move on to the NFL. We're not going to do anything super crazy with it as far as predictions and stuff. We did our teams we think will make the playoffs that did not last year, and vice versa. Maybe we'll talk a little bit as we still have a bit more extra show time to go here. But big news came down today as Gronk seemingly calling it a career for the second time. Last time he did it, Tom Brady had retired or had moved on first, and then he retired. Now it looks like it will be done. 11 seasons for him, 4-time Super Bowl champion, just under the 10,000 yard mark, 9,286 yards, 92 touchdowns. Absolutely fantastic career. Those numbers would be so much better if he could have stayed healthy. He had so many injury issues over the last several years. Totally. I think we said this the last time on a different show that totally understood Gronk retiring at the time with all the injuries that he went through. He went off to go be a WWE 24/7 champion. He's never been beat for that title. They had to take it from him because he went back to Tampa Bay. So maybe he's off to go try to win his title back that he's never lost. But fantastic career for Gronk. Complete party animal, over the top dude. Seems like a fun guy that would probably drive me nuts if I met him in person. But fantastic career for Gronk.
Yeah, 100%. I think the best thing I saw was, when he talked about the article or the things he always started papers with when he was in school, what he wanted to do when he grew up. And he always said he wanted to play football. And one of them happened to be wanting to play for Tampa Bay. And it just kind of fell into his lap the last 2 years. So, hats off. Four Super Bowls, almost, just over 9,000 yards, almost 100 touchdowns. So question, is he a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Absolutely. 100%. Not even close. You?
I think so. I think he'll go in the very first if he stays retired and not come back.
That's true. Does he stay unretired? Or does he stay retired, I should say? Sorry.
I think he stays retired this time. I really do.
I don't know. We get closer and closer to the postseason. If Tampa Bay is in the running, Brady calls for him. I don't know.
It'll be interesting, but I don't think he does anything too crazy. I mean, where would he go if that's the case? It would be Tampa Bay. That would be the only place. I don't see any other ball club that would offer him a ton of money to come someplace else where he's only
I don't
played.
think he even needs a ton of money.
Brady.
He just needs Brady.
Yep.
Period. Deshaun Watson settles on 20 of 24 lawsuits. I thought he said before he will not settle.
This all comes down today, so it was crazy seeing and hearing about that. His lawyers say that an undisclosed confidential settlements had been reached between 20 of the 24. The first plaintiff, Ashley Solis, was not part of the 20, so he was quoted in saying that it hope to get things settled here soon. NFL did have one little comment based out of it. It said it had no impact based on the disciplinary actions of what had already or what is going to happen for him. Mm-hmm. So they are waiting for everything else to come down before they do their thing. So
what do you think his suspension is going to be?
I really think it's probably going to be close to half the season. I would think he would be at least 8 games.
I think it's for the whole year. For as many allegations that have come through. I mean, yes, he missed all of last year through all of this stuff, but a lot of that was just him and Houston butting heads and trying to find a trade. And what a difference a whole year makes compared to I wanted Deshaun Watson on the Jets going into that offseason. And now nobody really wanted him. And then the Browns not only traded for him, but gave him a bunch of money. And they still haven't been able to get rid of Baker Mayfield. But they came out today saying that even if Deshaun Watson gets suspended for the entire season, they're going to Jacoby Brissett, not Baker Mayfield. It is basically done that Baker Mayfield will not play another down for Cleveland, even if there is a suspension.
And our
Yeah,
friend
6 or 10, I could see that too. But I'm gonna. That's my prediction. I'm gonna say the whole season. I'm gonna say that they put their foot down with as many lawsuits that went down for Watson. I think they give him the whole season. I'm surprised they have not announced anything yet through all of this. But now with the settling happening, and now we just have the 4 left over, maybe they will start doing that now. I'll see. Are you surprised that Baker is still on Cleveland, but they have basically said that he will not be their backup if Watson gets suspended?
I think they were trying to wait. I think he's going to be gone. He'll be moved here pretty shortly. I figured it would be after the first set of mini camps, which just concluded this last week.
Mm-hmm.
I see him with a lot of talks going on. I see him probably being moved here within the next couple of weeks and finding a new home. Where that is, we talked a little bit about it last week. The hearsay could easily go to Seattle has been in the talking. It'll be interesting to see where he goes.
And Eric makes a good point about the Dan Snyder mess with Washington. The NFL has a little bit of controversy on their hands. And as a wrestling fan, I can't say much, as the WWE has their own controversy right now with Vince McMahon, who needs to stay off TV. God, his response to all of this stuff of, hey, I'm just going to come out on TV and say random crap that means absolutely nothing just to show that I'm still here, is embarrassing.
And he almost fell out of the ring yesterday. He got his foot caught in the ring rope.
I wish he would.
That would have been so hilarious.
One more piece of news here in the NFL. Ryan Fitzpatrick, who we said was retired, is going to join the Prime Video crew on Thursday Night Football. He's going to join Tony Gonzalez and Richard Sherman. That's a cool trio. I think that's going to be a lot of fun for pre-games. I usually don't watch a lot of pre-game stuff, especially on like a Thursday night. I might have to check those 3 out. I think that'll be pretty fun.
Listen, when you have 2 guys, and as much as I don't care for Richard Sherman, he was a good player, a great player, but the smarts that he has, Ryan Fitzpatrick has, their mental capacity of how smart they are added to what Tony Gonzalez brings to it. I think it's going to be quite interesting to listen to that.
With Tony Gonzalez, it works really well because he already has some TV experience. So he already knows what's going in. I think Richard Sherman's going to be an interesting mind because, he's not opposed to giving his opinion on things, and he's a very smart individual by no stretch of the word. My favorite thing now is you're finally going to have a player be an analyst who has firsthand knowledge of all 32 teams, because Ryan Fitzpatrick has played for everybody. He can talk about his history with every team out there, and so he can go out there and go, well, this team likes to do this, and this team likes to do this, and this is how this team preps on a Thursday night. And he has firsthand knowledge of all of it. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So I think the biggest thing for me is, and when I looked at and saw some of the things, was a picture of all of his looks for every ball club. How do you think he comes out? Is he going to be in a full beard still? Or will he be clean
He cannot
shaven?
get rid of that beard. He's not getting signed by the New York Yankees. He doesn't have to get rid of the beard. Though I would love to see his mustache game if he got rid of the beard like Carpenter did when he joined the Yankees and just went straight mustache. I would love to see that game. I bet Fitzpatrick could rock a ridiculous mustache too.
It will be very interesting to see what he does, and I'm looking forward to it. And I think if I've heard that he's only doing 8 games, I think is what Amazon Prime is doing, is just 8 games. So it'll be interesting to see.
That's fine. It'd be fine to mix it up and have different people there for sure. He can only do the 8 games for all the different teams he played on, as far as you can only be on the pregame for the teams that you played for that are playing on Thursday night. All right, let's move on. Let's finish off Who Am I, as I feel like Eric has gotten me this win.
All right. Who am I? the last couple of parts here, and we're going to go to I was drafted in the first round of the NBA and then was traded. My debut was in 1999, and I played 21 seasons in the NBA. I averaged 20.7 points and 7.5 rebounds per game and scored 31,000 points, 6 all time, and have 11,489 rebounds. Who am
I
I?
still love that you refuse to give me teams. It's what still drives me nuts is you won't give me teams. But yeah, I do think it's Dirk Nowitzki.
You think it's Dirk Nowitzki? I told you I was making it easy for you this week.
But you still didn't give me the team.
Well,
honestly, the reason why I didn't, well, I mean, it would have been tough still with that. I just didn't think Dirk was 7 feet tall. I thought he was just a couple inches shorter than that.
No,
I guess just because I put him in that power forward thought in my brain that I don't think he's 7 feet tall. But
well, what's funny is doing some research on it, and I knew this. I know the next set of data would have really put it over. 14-time All-Star. He was an MVP. He was a NBA champion, Finals MVP, part of the 75th anniversary team. Also won a 3-point contest, and I put on there will be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
100%.
He is on that list with Dwayne Wade for next year. I think both of them get in on the first try. And then also, I played my entire career with one team, and I'm known as one of the best players to come from Germany. Did you know, though, and I didn't know this in doing research about him, is yes, his dad was a handball guy. Did you know he still played soccer in 1999 when he was playing basketball for the Dallas Mavericks, and he was part of that team? And so I didn't realize he was a champion on the team with soccer. So crazy. So, yep, you got it right. Congratulations, Eric. Helping out Randy again.
I'll take all the help I can get.
That's 3 weeks in a row that you've been saved by Eric or Denny Grubb texting you instead of me.
Yep, I'll take all the help I can get because you refuse to give me a team.
I think that's the hardest part. I can't give you a team because then that's going to give you all the answers.
You're not going to give me answers. It's going to help me narrow down my focus here. There you go. All right, let's have a little bit more fun with the NFL because I just thought about, oh, what the heck happened here? That was weird. I hit buttons, but I wasn't on my notes. I was on the StreamYard thing, and all of a sudden I went full screen, and that's not what I wanted at all. All right, let's play one little quick game with the NFL. I'm just going to throw this on you. I'm going to go through all of the teams last year that won 10 or more games. And I want you to tell me if they're going to repeat that feat or not.
Ooh.
We're going to go in alphabetical order. And
repeat having 10 wins?
To have at least 10 wins, which again is a little bit easier. Starting last year, having the 17 games. Now you just have to go 10-7.
Right.
But the Arizona Cardinals went 11-6 last year. Very tough division. Do they get double digits again this year?
I think they're going to be a 9 team. So I'm going to say no.
I'm also going to say no. That division is really tough. Minus the Seahawks. Any Seahawk fans out there thinking that they have any chance to win that division? No, it's not happening. We got to skip your Baltimore Ravens. They only had 8 wins last year. I know you think they're going to win double digits this year, but that's not the question. Buffalo Bills, they had 11 wins last year. Do they get double digits again this year?
I think so. I think 100%, it's going to be a good season, I think, for these guys. I don't see Miami playing 9-8 like they did last year. Maybe they do something.
Or no, you're right, 9-8.
9-8.
I love the fact that I apologize for instantly correcting you, but I've been going back in our history doing our NFL stuff and putting in different stuff, and my mind went instantly back to 16-game schedule. I apologize.
So I'm going to say yes on the Bills.
I will also say yes. Another tough one for me. The defending AFC champions, the Cincinnati Bengals. Very tough division. Who knows what the Browns are going to be? Who knows how the Steelers are going to be? And you believe the Baltimore Ravens are going to be improved. And I think they will be improved too because they had so many injuries last year. But the Bengals could be improved. Another year of experience for Joe Burrow. But we all know the team that loses a Super Bowl usually has a down year the next year. How much of a down year will the Bengals have? They won 10 games last year. Where are they at this year?
I think they're going to be right on the cusp of 10 games again. I like Joe Burrows and seeing if Joe Mixon can get another good year there, I think they're going to be right at that 10. I don't expect to see anything from Pittsburgh this year as they're trying to get their quarterback situation figured out. And Cleveland, who knows the drama that's going to happen there.
Right.
So
yes or no?
I say yes, 10 wins.
I'm going to say no, and that's no knock on Cincinnati. The AFC is so stacked right now with high-end teams that it's going to be difficult for them to repeat what they did. And even if they go 9-8 or hell 8-9, I don't think it's going to be that disappointing of a season for them, just because we are so used to teams regressing, and there's always going to be that team that does not live up to what they did the year before. And I'm going to say that's the Cincinnati Bengals. Moving on down the list, the Dallas Cowboys won 12 games last year. Will they hit double digits this year?
I'm going to say no. The only reason is I think Philadelphia got a little bit better in that division. Giants are still looking for themselves. They're not going to be anywhere there. The Commanders maybe make a step forward in that division, but I don't think any of them. I think the Eagles are going to be the closest that are going to get to 10.
I'm going to say no as well, which is now the third out of 4 teams that we've done on this that I've said will not repeat as double-digit wins, and maybe that is just me being a pessimist. But for Dallas, we all think this is the last year for McCarthy. We all think that Sean Payton's coming. They just are waiting to find a reason to fire McCarthy, and I think deep down Jerry Jones is kind of hoping for a bad year so he can get Sean Payton. So I'm going to say no. And also, I do believe the Washington Commanders are going to be a good contender to win the NFC East. I don't think they're going to be in contention as being a top NFC team, but I think the NFC East is still pretty weak. How about the Green Bay Packers? They were 13-4, lost Devontae Adams. Their only real competition is Minnesota, and how much are they really competition? So I'm going to say yes, even though I think they're going to take a step back.
I hate to say this, and maybe people will get upset with me, but is this now going to be the new NFC East? Is now going to be
It might be
the NFC North because of how things have changed over the last couple of years? I think they're going to be the 10. I think they'll end up winning that one. I think they will be a 10-win team. I think they're going to be actually probably an 11-win team, but it'll be interesting. But I really see that division starting to go farther down the tank.
And yes, I do think Green Bay will hit double-digit wins, even though the Jets are going to beat them at Lambeau Field when Haley and I go and sit in the stands. And I'll be the happiest person, period. No, that's not happening. Jets are going to get crushed in that game. Kansas City, 12 wins last year. Lose Tyreek Hill, but you still have Patrick Mahomes. My only worry is how much better the rest of the division has gotten over the last couple of seasons, but I'm going to still say yes. They're going to hit double-digit wins.
I see them running through their division quite easily.
Running through.
I don't see the big change with Denver getting Russell Wilson. The Chargers, I think, will be the closest team there. So I'm going to say yes.
We move on to the Las Vegas Raiders. They had 10 wins. And you don't believe...
I'm going to say no.
Me too. And it's not even that I think they're going to take a step back. I'm opposite of you. I think Denver is going to take a big step forward with Russell Wilson because I know I said something nice about Kansas City. Robert Taylor does not know what to do with himself. I understand that. I'm excited for this comment. Oh, you came in a second late. We both said Kansas City will win double-digit wins. We're going to double-digit win teams last year, and whether we think they will do it again last year or not. But that division's just gotten better. And honestly, I think they're all going to beat each other up. The Chargers on paper once again. Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. If I would have known you were here, I would not have done that. Can I go back and change my pick? No. We'll pause for your entrance. But the Chargers last year only won nine games, and I think they've improved their defense a bit. The Raiders made some good moves, getting Devontae Adams. It's crazy that Derek Carr is now the fourth best quarterback in that division. I know a lot of people are down on Carr, but you look at his numbers, he's a very good quarterback. And then Denver getting Russell Wilson, and we all thought they were a quarterback away. So whether it's the Raiders or the Chargers or the Broncos who are going to compete with the Chiefs for that division win, I think all of their win totals are going to go down a little bit, minus Denver.
Yeah, I think 100% with all of those. Derek Carr is probably went from being the number 2 guy, 3 guy to now being the 4-man in this rotation in
That's
this
fair.
division. So I think it will be a different look for Mahomes. I think maybe Mahomes is going to have to work a little bit harder in this division, but I don't see Vegas being that team to jump out there and be one of those top
There's
contenders.
so many really good teams in the AFC. There's going to be some great teams that don't make the playoffs. It'll be very interesting. How about your defending Super Bowl champions, the Los Angeles Rams? I'm going to say yes. They won 12 last year.
Hands down. I think they're going to be the team to really look out for this season. So if not making it all the way back and having a replay. And I want you to know, I almost went with Cooper Kupp this week was the who am I? And I decided that'd probably be way too easy.
Play for Eastern Washington. The only person I know. All right. How about the easiest one for me, the New England Patriots? They had 10 wins last year.
10 wins last year. I don't see them doing that again. I think the Buffalo is going to be that team there. I'm going to say they're going to be close, but they'll either be 9 or 8 and 8 or 9. They'll be right in that ballpark.
I think they're going to be worse than that. I just have no faith in New England. We'll see with Mac Jones. They did get some extra weapons for him, so the offense can be a bit better. Whether they finish second or third in that division all comes down to Tua for Miami. I still think the Jets are last. They still have some growing pains to go through. I like everything they've done in the last 2 off seasons, but by no means, as a Jets fan, do I think they are going to be in any kind of contention. But for me, New England and Miami are both in that 7 to 9 win rate.
Is this the final season for Bill Belichick? We keep hinting around at it. We keep talking about it. Everybody talks about it. I know he's going to leave on his terms, but is this the final season we see him based on his age?
As always, with Tom Brady too. I'll believe it when I see it. Plain and simple. How about the San Francisco 49ers?
Wow. 49ers, just 10-7?
They went 10-7 last year.
Yeah, so it's going to be close with all the turmoil in Arizona, what Murray wants and all that. And knowing, I think the Rams are a 14 win team.
Wow.
They're going to be pretty close. I think give them 9 wins, so I'm going to keep them just out.
I'm going to keep them just in, but right in that same range as you. I think they're second in the division. I think they make the wild card, so I think they got to win 10 games, but it'll be pretty close. Last 2 here, Tampa Bay. I think that's an easy yes for me.
I think it is going to be yes. It's going to be Brady's division unless something happens and he gets hurt and doesn't finish See that the only thing. Atlanta hasn't made enough moves. Neither has New Orleans to get there.
And Carolina is just Carolina.
Yep.
And the last one, the Tennessee Titans won 12 games last year. I think they're taking a big swan dive this year.
I think
have
so
no
too.
faith in this team.
I think so too. As much as they've been riding on the back of Derrick Henry, I think this is the year they take a step back because, and you and I have talked about this many, many times. That team has looked so good over the last few years. Yeah, it's just when are they not going to produce? And I think this is the year.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that was a fun little game that I just threw on Robert and myself, really, but we had some fun with it. Let's move on to the NHL real quick. They are through 3 games of the Stanley Cup Finals. The first game was really fun to watch. I watched a good chunk of that. I watched like the last period and a half and then overtime, which did not last super long. And then the next 2 games were just straight blowouts. But Colorado won both of their first games at home. They won 4-3 in overtime, then 7-0 on Saturday. And then yesterday, Tampa Bay able to get in the win column. They win that one 6-2. Are you still confident with your pick of the Avalanche in 7?
I think that it's still going to be 7. So I think Tampa Bay takes and picks up another win here. Their next game at home. So it's going to get, and then they'll pick up one in Colorado. So I really think it's going to go 7.
Yeah, next game is tomorrow. See if the Lightning can tie that up. I am not confident that the Lightning are going to win 4 straight. I'll just say that right now. Also, the Atlanta-San Francisco game looks like it's completely crazy. It's now 12-10 in that one in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Doval just gave up a 2-run home run, so it has been kind of crazy.
College World Series is going on. I would love to tell you more about the World Series, but every game's a damn blowout that I don't care right now. So right now, Oklahoma is through. Texas A&M beat Notre Dame today, right?
Yeah, that was a big blowout. That's why I turned it off at lunchtime today.
I'm trying to. Arkansas beat Auburn today 11-1. So they are in the Final Four, as is Ole Miss. Ole Miss and Oklahoma both have won both of their first 2 games, so they have to still be beaten twice. And it's those 2, Auburn and Texas, or Arkansas, excuse me, and Texas A&M in the Final Four. Both of our teams no longer alive.
Nope.
So be it. Shows you how much College World Series stuff that we talked about. But I just want some of these games to be closer, please.
It would be nice if we'd be able to watch a little bit more, but they just has been so one-sided on a lot of them that the interest level is a little bit different, you know. And I think also for us, it's been totally different not being sitting in the stands or working the games to actually be paying attention. So that's a big
100%. At least the NAI World Series, most of those games were very, very tight compared to the NCAA World Series. We move on to the Aussie rules football, where Hawthorne did not lose.
Woohoo!
Because they did not play. But I will take it right now as the Hawks. Oh, man. Essendon defeated St. Kilda 107-72. Eric's Western team defeated GWS 125-105. And old Geelong got a nice defensive battle win as they beat West Coast 81-63. Tell me about your team there, sir.
Listen, as much as I want to say Jeremy Cameron, we'll talk about the other guy in a minute. I think the player difference when this one was Stengel. Stengel looked really good, a couple big goals, some disposals. He played his heart out, but, you know, everybody's going to go and look at Tom Hawkins. He hits 3 big goals. And is now has 701 goals in 315th. He's 25th all time in goals. And so, and also Hawkins now is looking for the quest of having 11 consecutive seasons with at least 45 goals. Right now he has 36. He has 36. So he needs a few more. He missed a couple of easy shots in this game, but you were 100% right. It was defensive battle there for a bit, but I think the player of the game, it's not Hawkins for me this time. It was the play of what Stengel did in this matchup.
Yeah, Geelong still has 9 more games. He's definitely reaching that mark. Again, you look at the standings right now, it's very tight throughout. I mean, there's the bottom feeders are the bottom feeders. And the GWSs, the Hawthorns, the North Melbournes, the West Coasts of the world. They're the bottom feeders, and they're out of it. But right now, you have 3 teams with 40 points in Brisbane, Melbourne, and Fremantle, as well as Geelong and Carlton, just basically 1 game out. You get 4 points for a win, 2 points for a tie. So you have 3 teams at 10-3, 2 teams at 9-4, then 4 more teams at 8-5. So one of those teams right now would be out. As Eric has said, the Bulldogs are starting to turn things around. They've won 4 of their last 5. They're now 7-6 on the year, and they get Hawthorn next week. So they are very much in it. Long ways to go in the Aussie rules football season. A lot of time for anybody out there that is listening to us going, what the hell are these 2 idiots talking about? Go check Aussie rules football out. This had been a 1.5 year, nearly 2-year campaign by myself and Eric Watkins to get more people to watch Aussie rules. It worked out for Robert Hagan. He absolutely loves the sport. That once we got him into it last season, helped that he picked a team that is competitive and a lot of fun to watch. But if you want to watch it, have a DVR ready, because Aussie rules football happens at stupid times here in America. But we have 2 games on both Friday and Saturday. There you go.
You can also go. Yeah, you can also go there. Yeah, you go there, watch all the replays of all of the games. So
get the replays like a day or 2 after.
They
start popping up. You can always watch the highlights not long after on YouTube as well. They cut them down to like 10 to 15 minute videos. You can get into it as well. There's a lot of videos that'll teach you this sport. It's a fantastic sport. But if you want to watch it live and you're a night owl or you work nights like me, Friday morning will be Western versus Hawthorn at 2 a.m. Pacific time on Fox Sports 2. And then 11:30 at night on Friday will be Geelong versus Richmond. That also on Fox Sports 2. Then Saturday at 2 a.m. will be Sydney and St. Kilda on FS1. And then 10 p.m. Saturday night, you get Collingwood and GWS. So as we get closer and closer to the end of the regular season, Fox Sports here in the States starts carrying a bit more games, and always nice to see some footy on the TV. Go watch it. Come back. Let us know what you thought. That's all I ask. Go give it a shot and let us know. NASCAR, not much to talk about. They had the week off. I don't even know where they're racing this week, to be 100% honest. I didn't put it on our thing. Let me look it up real quick. But they had the week off. Obviously, we already talked about golf. Where are we at? Cup Series. Cup Series is at Nashville. I don't care. Okay. So, yes, watch and support. There's local stuff around here too, as Eric does say. I'm sure not around the Pacific Northwest or the Lewiston area as much, but very cool as well. We're still waiting for the PBA League to get started. That's still a couple of weeks away. They're doing all the previews and stuff right now.
They had a
bunch of PBA Facebooks and
bunch of regionals happened this past weekend. And also, we say PBA, make sure you're checking out the PWBA. They are back on. Their finals was tonight. I don't remember who all was in the final 5. I do have it recorded. I'll be watching that a little bit later.
Yeah, well, I won't give you the results of that one because I'm hoping to watch that as well. I wish we should have been smarter and got some banana belt results to talk about on here. But we did not. Wimbledon starts, I believe, on Monday. Do you have a prediction, sir?
I have no clue where to go with that one. No clue.
Nothing? You know, God, just give me a name.
God, I don't even know who's playing anymore.
Serena Williams coming back. I pick her to win.
I just don't know who to even follow anymore with Wimbledon. I kind of lost interest with Wimbledon when Pete Sampras finally retired, and Andre Agassi and Michael Chang, all those guys. I was an 80s, 90s kid watching those guys. So
your odds-on favorite for Wimbledon is Novak Djokovic on the men's side. The women's side, it's oh god, there's the one problem about being a tennis fan or an off and on tennis fan now. You see names and you're like, I'm never pronouncing that right. Eric, I wish Eric was on here to help me. Is it Swiatek? Iga Swiatek? Is that the correct pronunciation? Corey Goff is the second favorite. I can say that name, but there's obviously with people from different countries, you get some interesting spellings and pronunciations, and I apologize if I butchered that name, but she is the favorite on the women's side. But I will be trying to check out some Wimbledon, another sport that I love that ESPN3 covers a lot of. Swiatek. There we go. I know Eric. Eric has always been the pronunciation guy back when we were on the kickoff. He's always good at that stuff. So definitely check out some Wimbledon as well. There's a lot of everyone thinks this the summertime the sports just go away. It's not true. Aussie Rules is in full swing. Wimbledon's going on. We get all of the majors in golf. We just had the U.S. Open, where again Joe Damon finished in the top 10, and we get the Open Championship. What, in 2 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
So
week over overseas. Yep. So
that one is fun as well. But that's gonna do it for us. We had another fantastic show. 87 of these dang things in the book. Thanks to Eric for being here to be the guest judge and picking the wrong guy, but that's okay. Thanks to Robert Taylor for hanging out at the end. Of course, thanks to Haley and George for commenting earlier on in the show, and anybody else that's been hanging out with us and being quiet in the background, or those that'll be watching this later on Facebook or YouTube. We definitely appreciate it. Don't forget, 10 Facebook follows away from one of us having to do an MMA training session. That should be enough for you to go get your friends to come follow us.
And it's going to be Randy against Brian. I already know it.
I will face Brian if he has both hands tied behind his back and like 20-pound weights on both ankles. And I still will lose. But I feel like he won't hurt me as bad.
I saw him today, and I almost mentioned him, how close we were for him to be at that point of it's time to start thinking about what's happening. They've got another event coming up here in just a few weeks. So
we got to get them back on and promote that once again and get them ready. And they've been very gracious to us, and it's been always fun to have any of them on. Yep. So we'll have to try to get them on again. We're going to try to get Gino and Joel on at some point, at least Gino.
Yep.
But they're obviously very busy. They're getting ready to play the Travelers tournament here this weekend, and then they're off to England. So it might be a couple weeks, but we're going to try.
I still hope maybe we can swing and look at the calendar and tell them, come back home on August 13th and play golf with you and I. That'd be
golf and
be
bowling.
awesome.
That'd be great.
Get them on there. We can hold them up. Also, here pretty quick, we'll be starting to talk about LCSE sports, as a lot of these commits are starting to find their way back into the Lewis Clark Valley. Sean Pullman and I talked a little bit about that. We'll have him on probably in the next few weeks and talking about LC volleyball. Lots of things going on here, starting things, turn things up as we got the Asotin. I got the Asotin high school football schedule. It's time to, these are starting to get real. It's time to start looking at different sports again.
Oh yeah. It's starting to ramp up quickly. It's what it always happens. We're like, oh, it's going to slow down, and it never does. It just resets. If there's anything you want us to talk about next week, whatever sport, message us and let us know. We will do our best to accommodate, and we appreciate everybody that hangs out and messages and has a good time with us. But for now, that's Robert. I'm Randy. We are the R&R Sports Report. And for now, we are